What's up, guys? I got a delivery today, another little eBay acquisition here. I got a couple older retro GPUs again. These cards are both about in the 10 years old range. I got the MSI NX 8800 GTS, the 640 meg edition. Had dynamic overclocking, 640 megs of GDDR3, 2 DVI ports, HDTV ready, so I imagine it has like an S-video port or something. And I think these are still PCI Express 1, they might have been 2, but this is about the same time frame also from MSI, and this is an ATI card. We've got our RX 3870, which is really an HD 3870. RX is just what MSI called it, but that's got this is, I believe, the HD 3800 series cards were the first cards to use GDDR4. As you can see, they kind of highlighted that in a different color there, but it's a 512 meg DDR4. This also has dual DVIs, HDMI ready, HDCP ready, HDTV ready, and this one was actually using PCI Express 2.0 instead of 1.0. And I'll turn these things around here. I think they're supposed to be both brand new in the box. However, it does look like I could probably take them out without really damaging the box, and we can look at the contents and then I'll put them back in. So I'll probably do that just for fun. At least if it looks like I'm going to damage it, I'll stop, but whatever. So we still got dual link DVI. This is back, they're kind of first starting to really get into SLI a lot. Well, SLI was, for NVIDIA, was first with like the 6000 series cards, like the GT, or the 6600, and then the 6600 GT, and then they went to the 6600 Ultra, or 6800 Ultra, sorry. And then they had the 6800 GTs and so forth as well. But pretty cool. I always like the box art from MSI. That's one of the reasons why I went with this brand. But they were pretty cheap. I think I got this one for like 25 bucks or something. This was like $30, brand new in the box. That's pretty cool for the age of these cards. And this one, I don't think they had HDMI on the card, but they had this adapter that would actually convert, and they called it MSI Mazarine DVI, which would allow audio to transport over DVI, even though normally DVI doesn't support an audio stream. So that way, if you connected it with your HDMI port and then hooked it up to a compatible HDMI display at the time, which there wasn't that many HDMI capable displays back then. They would have been mostly, especially not monitors, but like even TVs. There have been a few, but mostly it was just like PC monitors had DVI and still were using VGA. But this way, if you had a TV and you wanted to hook up your computer to a TV, which also back then was less common, you'd be able to do your audio over your HDMI. But I guess what we'll do is we'll open these up and I can show you guys the kind of cool stuff that used to come with cards back in the day. It seems like they've gotten away from including quite as much swag. Like if you buy like a real top-end card these days, some of the editions will come with a lot of like little case badges and stickers and like manuals and just little knick-knacky things that you wouldn't expect with a video card. But a lot of them nowadays are pretty bare bones. Like I did a video here a little bit ago about that RTX 2060 Super I got from Asus, and it's like you get a driver disc and like maybe one cable that converts like 2 Molex or like 2 PCI Express 6 pins into an 8 pin, and that's it. That's all that comes in the box inside the GPU. Which, I mean, really, what do you need but the card to get it in your system and have fun? You're going to download drivers from the site anyway, but it's just, like I said, they used to include a lot of neat stuff with cards. Let's see what came with these. I'll be back in a second here. I'm going to get, I'll start with the NVIDIA, the 8800 GTS, and we'll see what's in that box. Alright, so we got this out of the sleeve. Part of why I want to do this too is that, these were sold as brand new in the box from the eBay seller, and I want to verify that they actually are, and not that I might have received something, that he just threw something in the box. That kind of thing happens. I haven't had that problem with any of the cards that I've bought here, in the last year or so, but I know I hear stories about people getting the wrong card or getting a broken card or whatever it is. So they still got this in the static bag that definitely looks like, what it should be. See, this is what I liked about these even back then. Like, they had art and everything right on the card. Like, they don't really do that much anymore. Like, you get just like... In fact, a lot of the cards these days, I think, are almost kind of ugly. Like, EVGA... I like EVGA for a lot of reasons, but it's like their fan shrouds on their 2800 series cards look like... I kind of think they look like shit. The only reason that I think mine look alright is because I put those hybrid kits on them. They look a lot better with those, but the generic fan that they put on them, I think it looks really kind of crappy. The only beef I had with these cards is the green PCB. They didn't really get away from that until a few years into the future and started using like black or things, you know, that matched the rest of the card a little bit better. Get your single 6-pin PCI Express. Everything looks legit. I've got used ones of these like from BFG and different brands, but this is nice. You can see it doesn't look like it's ever been opened. If it has, they did a really good job of you know, making it look like it wasn't. Let's see what else might have come in here. And maybe there isn't that much in this box, I don't know. I just know that a lot of times in the past you would receive, like I say, a fair amount of quote-unquote swag. Yeah, there's a fair amount of stuff in here, like adapters and stuff, you know. So we've got 2 Molex, 2 6-pin. We've got our S-Video cable, so I'm assuming the card must have had an S-Video port. Yeah, it does. I don't know how well you can see it through the plastic, but it's in that corner there. So it does have S-Video. You've got an S-Video out to multi-component, and then that's just like another S-Video extension, I believe. 2 DVI to VGA adapters. Nice. You've got a free copy of Company of Heroes. Exclusive 2-disc edition. Wow, interesting. Looks like the MSI driver disc Beyond 3D Multimedia disc. A quick, probably, that's not really an installation guide. I think that's more like a card layout guide. And then here we've got our quick user guide. I just thought their artwork was cool back then. They always had all these people like in armor and using swords and stuff. Looked like they were something out of medieval times. Just think that back then was a cooler time to buy video cards than it is today. Although, you know, of course they've gotten much more powerful over time. It just seems like I say, what came in the box was a little bit cooler back 10-15 years ago than it is in 2019. But I'm going to put this one away, and then I'll go ahead and get the HD3870 out of the box. So give me 1 second. Alright, so you can tell these cards are like from the exact same era, you know, that, and obviously both coming from MSI because the box layout is identical. That's really, I like their cards, man. They were like, it had a transparent red shroud over the fan back then, which I always liked on these HD 3000 series cards. I think the 4000 series had the same kind of thing going on. They've got like this robotic female character on here, which I think is kind of cool. I would like to get like a 4000 series also. One thing I think this has, if I can get this out of the damn box. 1 second, I gotta, sorry about the camera view. Okay, there we go. So you get your red PCB for ATI, which I always thought was cool, instead of having a green one. Green would not have gone that well with this. But a lot of these, and it's hard to tell through this, but I'm pretty sure all like the heat sinks and stuff inside are all copper, which goes well with the red color too, which is kind of nice. But they just, like, again, like the artwork on here is cool. Like they didn't have that, you know, and anything coming out in like the last probably 8 years, I haven't really seen anything where they've done much of that sort of thing. So it's kind of a cool trip back in time for yours truly. Alright, so this has got kind of similar swag as the other one did, except for it's got that adapter we talked about for the Mazarine DVI port. Converts that into HDMI, which again at the time would have been something pretty unique and unusual. You've got a DVI to VGA adapter. You've got, again, S-Video to multi-composite out. A component, whatever. This one does a standard yellow component video cable. That's pretty old, but I mean, that way you'd be able to hook it up even to like a really old television set, even though it'd be probably pretty piss poor resolution. I forget exactly. I think that's like 240p or something. Pretty bad, but you know, whatever. Let's give you options. Here's a S-Video, standard S-Video cable there. Another Molex, 2 Molex to 6-pin PCI Express 75 watt power connector. They did include a crossfire bridge with these. Back then, I think it was more likely that they came with the video cards, whereas now they come typically with the motherboard, although maybe a little bit of both. But they actually were nice enough to give you one, which nowadays AMD has completely dropped support for multi-GPU. The 5700 and the 5700 XT do not support multi-GPU at all. The last card AMD made that had any kind of crossfire support was the Radeon 7, and those are overpriced and underpowered. We got our kind of a cool driver disc. It's even got like artwork they bothered to print on the disc, you know. Again, like say nowadays, you don't, if you even get a driver disc, it's just a plain looking, probably black CD or something, you know. Ruby ROM. I forget what the hell Ruby was about. Like that was kind of like their character back then for ATI, like their mascot character. But as far as Ruby ROM Volume 1, I don't know if that's a game or if that's some kind of utilities or something. Doesn't really say. I'm not sure. That's something I could look into and try to find out if anybody wants that information. Ask in the comment section. I'll try to figure it out. Kind of a mystery for me. It's neat. And then we've got the user guide again. And this looks like another specific user guide to the RX 3000 series, in which they've got the card layout again, kind of like that other one did in the previous box. But anywho, like I say, this is just kind of neat stuff for me. You know, you may or may not find this sort of thing interesting, but I've always liked these old cards. You know, I just think that they have some cool features that nowadays seem to have been lost to some degree, or, you know, companies just aren't doing the same things anymore. And I like opening these boxes and just seeing what kind of cool stuff they included. But if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section, even if it's just to say hi. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask them in the comment section. I will do my best to answer them. If I don't know the answer off the top of my head, I can always find out. Google is my friend. But, well, I won't go into the reasons why I don't like Google, but Google, in the case of finding out information, is pretty useful. But thanks for watching, and have a great one. Later.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.